James Comer, the chair of the House Oversight Committee, announced on Friday that he was launching a new investigation. And this new investigation is into the possible connections between Minnesota Governor and Kamala Harris running mate Tim Walz and Communist China, right? Because as we all know, when China wants to really influence policy here in the United States, they go to the heart of the country, which is the governor of Minnesota, right? Always, obviously, the most influential person in the country is the governor of Minnesota. So if you want to infiltrate the United States, you go there first. And of course, I'm being sarcastic about that, but that is apparently what James Comer believes. And on Friday, he announced an official investigation into Tim Walz. Now, I'll tell you what the investigation is about in a moment, but first I'm going to tell you what it's really about. James Comer, like every other Republican in Washington, D.C., sees the polls. Hell, a new one came out just yesterday showing that Kamala Harris is now ahead nationally by 4 points over Donald Trump. Donald Trump's campaign is dying. Trump is making his campaign worse. J.D. Vance is making the campaign worse. Every day, their polls get worse. Trump has not gained ground in any new poll since Kamala Harris became the presumptive Democratic nominee, then, of course, the official Democratic nominee. But today, the Democratic National Convention begins, and Republicans in the House needed to do something, including abuse their power, to try to blunt whatever convention bounce the Democrats may get. So Comer stepped in and says, we're investigating Tim Walz. Because I wish I was making this up. But back in 1989, Tim Walz, as a teacher, get this. Oh, man. He participated in a teaching abroad program and taught in China for a couple weeks. Yeah. 1989. 35 years ago, spent a couple weeks over there as part of an exchange program teaching children. And because of that, James Comer says this SOB is clearly in the pocket of Communist China. We got the son of a bitch, right? Because 35 years ago, he helped Chinese children. These people are insane. And I know I'm throwing that word insane around a lot recently, but oh my God, there is no other way to describe these people. This is insanity. But more importantly, this is an illegal abuse of power because it's obvious Comer's only doing this as a form of political interference to try to trash Tim Walz. And if you don't believe me, then answer me this. What happened to Comer's investigation into Hunter Biden? Where'd that go? Right? I mean, that just disappeared when Biden wasn't the nominee anymore, right? The impeachment inquiry, where is that? Oh, Biden's not the nominee. Guess we don't need to do that. Let's come up with some other BS so that we can take down the actual nominee. So sorry for wasting your time, Biden. Get on out of here, you little scamp. James Comer belongs in prison. James Comer should be prosecuted for abuse of power. And I hope to God that Democrats take back the House of Representatives in this year's election. And the first thing they need to do after they impeach Eileen Cannon. Actually, you know what? You can do this before you impeach Cannon. Strip James Comer of his committee assignments, completely strip him of all of his power, and then vote to remove him from this body for egregious abuse of power. Get him out, do the same thing with Jim Jordan, because he's been right there with Comer the whole way. And you know how we know that this is politically motivated and, of course, not based in any kind of criminal activity on behalf of Walz? Because if these Republicans were actually concerned about American politicians getting influenced by China, then they'd be looking at the fact that China pumped $5.5 million into Donald Trump's personal businesses in the 4 years that Donald Trump was president of the United States. But they don't care about that, right? That is a literal tie to the Chinese government. They're literally putting money in his friggin' pocket. He received trademarks from China, as did his daughter Ivanka. Not a peep. But God forbid Tim Walz makes the trip over to China 35 years ago. Clearly, that's the corruption that America needs to be concerned about. This is utter insanity, borderline criminal. And James Comer, if the Democrats take back the House, needs to be punished as harshly as humanly possible. America's Lawyer has launched its own YouTube channel. Now, this channel, of course, is still in its early phases of development, but you can help grow it by subscribing. Just go to youtube.com/theamericaslawyer, and you'll get all of the great content from Mike Papantonio and myself that we produce every single week.